Hello there. How do you feel about facial recognition in your local grocery store determining the prices you are going to see on the shelves? Because it seems to be something that might be coming to Kroger's. From the nation, Kroger has partnered with Microsoft to install facial recognition technology in stores to identify individual customers, which could allow individual shoppers to see prices calibrated specifically for them. The next shopper might pay a different amount based on their profile. So essentially, you'd have facial recognition software, and it's going to find out who you are and make a profile of you. So your gender, your age, socioeconomic status, if it can find out where you're employed, where you live, the time of year it is, the availability of certain goods in the region you are in right now, your own personal shopping habits, therefore how much you value certain goods. Calibrating for all of this, they can maximize profit by drawing as much money for you as you are willing to pay for a specific good. And so this way we can tailor prices to gouge everybody to the maximum. Isn't that nice? Of course, there are other ways to go about it as well, like for example a social credit score, where you make people pay more or less based on their behavior and compared to specifically what the people in power, be it the government or the corporations, would like them to do. You could, for example, say that, well, you have a certain amount of meat that you're allowed to consume. I just made a video yesterday about how they want to reduce meat consumption. And so if you ate more than that, then maybe the price of meat for you specifically will rise. You could also just do it by virtue. For example, if you posted naughty things on the internet, for example, conspiracy theorists, then you might have an increase in prices across the board. There are all sorts of ways to make this useful to the people in power as a means of control, and also, of course, as a means of profit. And people seem to be unhappy. Their reactions don't seem to be very good. I wonder why. So it says here Kroger's plans to roll out facial recognition tools at its grocery stores is attracting increased criticism from lawmakers, who warn that it could be exploited to increase the prices certain individuals pay for food and put customers' personal data at risk. In a letter Friday to Kroger CEO Rodney McMullen, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who's a Democrat, and I personally can't stand her, said the plans, which involve using facial recognition tools in digital displays to target advertising to customers and collect information on them, potentially paves the way for biased pricing discrimination. I'm going to point out that loss of your privacy and personal data is also a very important issue in my opinion, but I wouldn't expect the Democrats to be at all concerned with it. So she says here that studies shown that facial recognition technology is flawed and can lead to discrimination in predominantly black and brown neighborhoods, Tlaib wrote in a letter which was posted on social media Tuesday. The racial biases of facial recognition technology are well documented and should not be extended into our grocery stores. It's true that facial recognition has a harder time identifying people who are black and brown. It's just the way that the sort of cameras work, I believe. Not necessarily anything intentional. All the same, I wouldn't want this rolled out even if it was perfect, so I don't think it matters much to me. Kroger is the largest grocery store chain in the country with nearly 3,000 stores and $3.1 billion in profits in 2023. Kroger and other retailers already use electronic shelving labels instead of paper labels to rapidly adjust prices based on a variety of factors, including time of purchase, where a grocery store is located, and other data. The plan to use facial recognition technology could allow the retailer to build individual profiles on customers based on data like their gender and shopping habits. In an August letter sent to McMullen about the same plans, Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bob Casey, who are both Democrats, said they were concerned about the chain building personalized profiles of each customer and then used these profiles to determine how much price hiking each of us can tolerate, quickly updating and displaying the customer's maximum willingness to pay on the digital price tag. So I wonder what the Republican lawmakers, I would hope that they would object on the grounds that privacy should not be breached in this manner. I don't want smart anything, honestly, not smart cities, not smart grocery stores, Just keep everything as it was. Do not make anything digital. I hate it. I also think that it's exceedingly dystopian to allow everything to spy on you that way. I don't need a database with all of my actions throughout the entire day. I believe that the guy, CEO of Oracle, was talking about a smart city where basically everything, including the cars passing by and all the stores and everything, has cameras that spy on you. And essentially everybody has to be on the best behavior, because otherwise, well, it's a matter of moments for a fleet of drones to come in and shut everything down. So I definitely do not want that future, and this feels like a part and parcel of it. That said, I don't particularly enjoy the idea of price gouging me on the basis of how much I'm willing to pay for each specific good either. So there's no upsides to this, unless of course you are the large corporation that will be enjoying the profits and power that come with this new development. So the use of facial recognition tools in Kroger stores raises concerns about how Kroger intends to adequately safeguard customer data, the Warren Casey letter said. Spoiler, they're not going to safeguard it properly. These things leak all the time. To be clear, Kroger does not and has never engaged in surge pricing, statement from Kroger said. Any test of electronic shelf tags is designed to lower prices for more customers where it matters most. I'm going to call nonsense on that one. In her letter, Labor also cited the potential for Kroger to use its system to charge customers in areas where there are few grocery stores more money at a time when grocery prices are spiking. Kroger's use of facial recognition technology and surge pricing is concerning when we are hearing growing complaints about the rising cost of groceries at big retailers, Tlaib wrote. We found big retailers with little regional competition can extract large profits simply by adjusting prices of essential goods like food items. This is something that, in my opinion, you'll especially see in Democrat-run cities, where what they do is they are very lenient with shoplifting and other petty crimes, supposedly as some sort of racial justice or racial healing program. And as a result, smaller chains or pop and mom stores that can't handle the losses that result from this policy, they shut down, leaving only a few large chains that can swallow the pain. And these chains then become monopolies, and everyone suffers, apart from, I suppose, the thieves. This is something that we've seen happen in a couple of Democrat-run cities. It led to what's called as food deserts, where basically you don't have the ability to buy food in a very large area. This is relatively new and very disturbing, and I definitely do not want to see this policy extended through the use of facial recognition in order to maximize its impact. I think that we should definitely protect the right to property so that small stores can remain in business. In my opinion, the idea of cutting down all the small stores and allowing only big chains to operate is just about the worst outcome for the future, because they will, of course, take advantage of the power. It's elementary, really. I often wondered how anyone could be so blind as to support the idea of giving benefits to large chains and corporations in order for them to come in, because they create so many jobs, etc. You are literally creating monopolies that way. You are bending the rules in favor of those already successful and those who own large market share in order to give them an even larger advantage. Obviously, they'll just eat up all the competition and you'll be left with a monopoly. Then you'll say that it's the result of capitalism and try and create even more government bureaucracy to try and deal with the problem that you created. If you are going to help anyone, help small and medium businesses start either new stores or new franchises in areas with low economic opportunity. This is going to be the best for everyone, because you are essentially jump-starting an economy that is struggling and also helping create a robust, diverse economy. When I say diverse, I don't mean in terms of gender or gender how to put it, gender identity or race or anything. I'm talking about diverse in terms of the number of different stores, that you're not dependent on a monopoly. And obviously, this is not going to be what the government does usually. It prefers to deal with one large corporation, give it benefits so that it comes in and creates jobs. And I suppose it's better than what AOC did, which was scare off the large corporations so that nobody has a job, because she didn't have any replacement in mind. But I would still very much support, instead of giving the benefits to the large corporation, prioritize small and medium businesses to try and diversify your economy. So it says here that Kroger's use of facial recognition technology in search pricing is concerning. Yeah, I already read that. The Federal Trade Commission is suing to block Kroger from acquiring rival grocery chain Albertsons in a $24.6 billion proposed deal it announced in 2022, arguing that the controversial proposal deal is anti-competitive. Well, yes, if you just merge all the big ones, you'll eventually end up with a monopoly. Tlaib asked McMullen to respond to several questions, including whether targeted price adjustment will be offered only to certain customers and whether consumers will have the option to opt out of being surveilled and discriminated against. There's also a correction here. A previous version of this story said that Microsoft was involved in Kroger's facial recognition plans based on the lawmakers' statements. A spokesperson for Microsoft said Kroger is not using the company's facial recognition technology, which is interesting because The Nation did report on this, and this is from just 5 days ago, January 24th. So people do not seem to be very happy with that. If you look at the top comments, this will end in a Butlerian jihad. It says the surveillance state is unacceptable to the men and women of the Republic. Get up to speed. No Kroger for me then. That's a violation of decency and privacy. Thanks for pointing this out. And so on and so on. Essentially, people are not very big on the idea that everything is going to be surveilled and everything is going to be personalized. It's definitely lending itself naturally to the idea of a social credit score or some sort of personal profile that includes all the information on you, and your interactions with corporations or even the state might differ based on it. So what else would you call it other than a social credit score, really? I have to say, I think privacy is the fundamental right that we have to fight over. And what we have to do is we must make it so that you can't give up privacy. Right now, we basically have a right to privacy, but in order to access almost any sort of service, you have to give up on it. If you try and, for example, do anything with your smartphone, you'll find out that, well, every app demands access to a lot of information about you, and you can't use them if you don't agree. And if you don't use the apps, well, there's a lot that you can't do, even access public transport in my country. We have to enshrine the right to privacy and make it so, just like you can't sign yourself over slavery, you can't sign over your privacy, at least to an extent. It has to be something fundamental that you can't give up. Otherwise, what will happen is that all of the big services will demand that you voluntarily give up your privacy in order to be able to pretty much do anything in the economy, and the right to privacy will essentially become completely obsolete and meaningless. I think we cannot overstate the harm of losing the right to privacy. And it's not just your personal information, it's also, if they have the information of the masses, then there is a lot they can learn from it and use it against us. That's why they have a lot of research into this subject, especially from the angle of psychology. I'd say, I remember the change they did to, which was it? Was it the Amazon webpage, or whose was it, where basically they decided to change it from yellow to white or the other way around, and people were quite mad at it, so they just changed it by a shade every day for like a year until they got to the shade they wanted and nobody noticed. There is absolutely research into the way that the masses react to the moves of large corporations, and mass psychology, as a result of the amount of public information currently available to these groups, is definitely being used to manipulate us against our best interests. And there is really not much that you as an individual can do. You can't even stop them from accessing your data because, well, you can't really function without the services that are tied to giving them said data. But I honestly don't see any way other than legislation to try and stop this. Perhaps there are certain projects to try and revamp the way that the internet works so that all of your information is private, and instead of you having to protect it, it would be protected through blockchain technology by base, and then you'd have to voluntarily give up information to anyone that asks for it. I think that might improve things, but even so, like I said, they can just make any and all services conditional on you giving up the information anyway. So really the only way to stop them is just to, well, either if there's a large enough backlash, we've seen backlash to unpopular things that has been very successful. For example, you had the Dylan Mulvaney thing with the very nice beer that people for some reason decided not to drink. There have been a few cases of mass backlash, and perhaps privacy can engender such a backlash by itself, but I somehow doubt it. I think most people are just not aware of how pervasive the loss of privacy is and how dangerous it is. And until it gets creepy enough that the average person is truly uncomfortable, I think we will not see this type of backlash yet. So, how do you feel about the idea that your local grocery store is now going to be spying on you and possibly adjusting prices to match? Do note that they did not deny the fact that pricing will be adjusted on an individual basis. Rather, they claim that it would be used to bring prices down, not up. I wonder about that. There are so many times where you get the, this is a discount, and then you find out that what they did was increase the base price and then give you a discount so that there's barely any profit for you in it, if there is at all. So I am definitely not trusting the idea that this personalized price is going to bring down prices. Honestly, since when have you ever heard of grocery stores wanting to bring down the price for you? Don't they want to bring it up so they can make more money? Isn't it the whole shtick, fighting for their own profit? So yeah, how do you feel about grocery stores with personalized prices and facial recognition everywhere? Do you think that you might choose not to visit such stores, or perhaps walk around with a mask maybe? Or do you feel that this is perfectly fine and you don't mind the loss of privacy and the social credit score, really? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.